Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh, double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risk their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds or Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and this video is about World War III and about some major players, specifically Russia, Iran, and Europe. All right, so here it is, fresh off the press, posted an hour ago from Times of India. Putin enters Iran's fight with European nations, warns E3 after snapback stunt. So automatically, when you know about this truth, when Yahweh Shemin Shai has granted you, the privilege of the eye salve to be able to see and understand what's going on and to understand Bible prophecy, seeing a title like this automatically makes you think of Bible prophecy, man. It makes you think of Ezekiel chapter 38, okay? Ezekiel chapter 38 says in verse 1, "And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him." So this is talking about the Russians, as they dwell in that land today that Gog and Magog once dwelt. They're not the original Gog and Magog. The Russians, they are Edomites. That's an Edomite-led nation, all right? And the Edomites are these so-called white people, and the Edomites are the ones that are currently in rulership. Esau is in his blessing, who's the forefather of the Edomites, the fatness of the earth, the dew of heaven, and by the sword will he rule. All right, so the Russians is a part of the world. It's one of the superpowers out there, and it is an Edomite superpower. All right, but they're not Gog and Magog. They just dwell in that land that Gog and Magog once dwelt. Okay, that's where Russia is now. And say, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal." So the Lord is against Russia. And of course the Lord is against Russia because the Russians are Edomites. And the Lord hates Esau. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Right? And verse 3. They're called the border of wickedness. All right? Malachi 1 to 4 says it. Okay? So the Lord hates Esau and refers to them as a border of wickedness. All right? So the Lord is against them. "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor." So the Lord is going to put the Spirit upon them to go to war with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So the great company is the alliance of Russia. And we can take a look at that great company right now by Googling the BRICS. So BRICS. Because what Russia has done, being on the other side of this whole geopolitical situation and World War III tensions, is that you have America, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures, Revelation chapter 17, Mystery Babylon the Great, right? And then you have America, which is the whore that rides the beast, which is NATO. And you have the 10 horns, which is the European Union. So they're all allied together, America, NATO, and the EU. Then they also have the state of Israel, which has been declared an unofficial member of NATO. So they're on one side, and then they're against Russia and her allies. All right, so Russia's allies, Russia has basically enlisted the aid of the heathen, right? Because as you can see, Babylon, America, which is America, NATO and the EU, and the state of Israel, that's a so-called white alliance. They don't allow anybody else up in there. It's all Edomite dominated countries, Edomite leadership, etc. Okay, so that's an Edomite alliance fully. Then you have the Russians, who's also an Edomite, but since those Edomites gathered together and then they're against them, Russia said, all right, well, Russia's going to go to the heathen and enlist them for help. So the BRICS is a forum of cooperation among a group of leading emerging economies. The BRICS includes 10 countries: Brazil, China, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Indonesia, Iran, Russia, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, and I believe they have even more people now. All right, so it is growing. Okay, so as you can see by the list, they got Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. Okay, so let's go back to this. All right, and then so in verse 5, Ezekiel 38 and verse 5, it describes the allies of Russia, Persia. First one out the gate. The Persians are known today as the Iranians. And who is Russia's number one ally? Iran. We can see that by way of literally observing current events over these past years. Ethiopia and Libya, which is referring to the so-called African nations. With them, all of them with shield and helmet. So going back to the BRICS, you can see the BRICS, Iran is a part of the BRICS with Russia, and then the so-called African nations where it says Ethiopia and Libya, you can find them here. Egypt, Ethiopia, South Africa, those are considered, so-called African, whatever. So they're parts of it. Then it says all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with these. So this is talking about Turkey. Now you may be wondering, Turkey? Because Turkey is currently a part of NATO. But Bible prophecy states that Turkey is going to be aligned with Russia. Gomer and Togarmah is referring to them as they dwell in that land today. The same way how the Russians are in the land of Gog and Magog today, the Turkey is in that land where Gomer and Togarmah, once dwelt. All right. So it's referring to Turkey. And so when you look at what's going on in the world, you observe and you say, okay, knowing Bible prophecy, Turkey is going to side with Russia. So you observe what's going on, right? You take a look and you can see that Turkey and Turkey's relationship with its current alliance is dissolving. Turkey has made a very clear stance against the state of Israel. And once you make that kind of declaration, it's only a matter of time before they push you out. Okay, so Turkey is going to be joining with Russia for the whole situation in the Middle East, which is Western Asia, World War III. Okay, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia is a guard unto its alliance. And remember, Iran is its top alliance. All right, top alliance. The first one mentioned here in the scriptures. All right, and then you can see it. Okay, so Russia has issued a sharp warning that reimposing sanctions on Iran could lead to irreparable consequences after Britain, France, and Germany moved to restore curbs over Tehran's non-compliance with the 2015 nuclear deal. Moscow accused the European trio of undermining diplomacy and called their actions illegal and unjustified. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi revealed Tehran is working with China and Russia on joint measures against a possible UN snapback. Earlier, Iranian officials warned they may end talks with Europe altogether. The E3 nations insist Iran diverted its nuclear program, while France and the UK reiterated calls for renewed dialogue. So the prophecy states that Russia is going to be a guard unto its allies. Okay, so this speaks to the prophecy very clearly. Okay, Russia has, stepped in, all right, to the defense of Russia. And it's not even at a situation right now where it's, nuclear and fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's not even at that point as yet. It's at the point where Russia is simply defending Iran's position on the world stage regarding what it is that they believe Iran should be allowed to do, which the opposing side, America, EU, NATO, and the State of Israel, they don't want Iran to develop what they call nuclear capabilities. I believe that's what it is. All right, but Russia is for it because Russia is aligned with them, and so Russia is defending their position. So this is what is transpiring, right? The nuclear deal. So it's a 4-minute 52 video. I didn't watch it. I've seen the video title, and the spirit, led me to just simply start recording as immediately. So I'm in it fresh with y'all. So let's watch it. Putin backs most trusted ally, Iran. Let me read that again. Putin backs most trusted ally Iran over NATO sanctions. Most trusted ally, so it's been declared. It's been declared. Putin fumes after NATO nations reimpose sanctions of Iran. Do you see how the scriptures line it up so perfectly? Okay? Because the world, what's going on, literally shows that Iran is in fact Russia's #1 ally, and the scriptures in Ezekiel 38 lets us know that. It shows you, the prophecy at hand of Yahweh Shemishai. Okay? Russia warned on Friday that reimposing sanctions against Iran. Okay, so I read that. You see, when this situation as well is building towards World War III, this is the major players on the world stage, having tensions built up among themselves, which will eventually lead to the war of Armageddon. Revelation 16 verse 16. All right. And World War III, Revelation 11 verse 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay? And Yahushua said that we shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and that nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. That these are the things that will be seen before his coming. So we're experiencing all these things. We're seeing it. We're living through it. We strongly urge them to reconsider and review their erroneous decisions before they lead to irreparable consequences and further tragedy. Right? So, the talks of it, the speech that is coming out, it's very, high in the tension.
And Russia on this.
So Iran has been working with China and Russia on a response.
We have been actively working in close collaboration with both China and Russia on this particular and significant issue. And throughout this period, we've had numerous productive joint meetings. Furthermore, we have also jointly and meticulously designed a comprehensive set of effective measures to implement promptly, should they decide to activate the snapback mechanism.
All right, so it's all just about that. And you know what? Iran is ready, man. They have a spirit upon them that the Lord is going to put upon them. The scriptures talk about them, man, specifically the Carmenians in 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 30. Right? Also, the Carmenians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. The Carmenians are talking about the Persians, who are known as the Iranians today, who are the biblical Elamites. Right? And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and they shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So that's referring to the land of the Assyrians, is referred to as Esau, or the so-called white man. All right, because that's who they'll be fighting against. They'll be fighting with Esau against Esau. You see what I'm saying? That's what, World War III is really an Edomite skirmish. It's an Edomite battle. It's one set of Edomites that are aligned together as Edomites against another Edomite sovereign nation who has decided to enlist the help of the heathen to help fight their cause against the Edomites on the other end. But it's an Edomite skirmish. And you know what the scriptures say about them? That, man, about a kingdom divided. Let me get it and then end the video. Because Esau's kingdom is very through, man. I think it's Mark, maybe 3. Okay, here it is, Mark chapter 3. And verse 24, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And Esau's kingdom is very clearly divided. And even with the Edomite alliance with America, NATO, EU, and the state of Israel, that's collapsing as well. They're having infighting there as well. And we know that it's an infighting that's going to escalate, that it's not going to stop, it's going to get worse because of Revelation chapter 17, verse 16, which tells us that the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. So NATO and the EU, things are going to happen where they're going to turn against America, right? So Esau is very finished, man. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Then Esau's house, the house of Esau, the house of Edom is divided. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but at an end. So he cannot stand but at an end, right? And his end is coming, right? Talking about Esau, man. Esau, Satan, the adversary, right? The adversary to who? The Israelites. The adversary to Yahweh Shemishai. Okay? So Esau's kingdom is through, man, and all the signs are there. It's only a matter of time. We just have to wait patiently for that mark of the beast prophecy to be fulfilled, which is a microchip. And then can the salvation and the destruction come. With that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai Bashar Kodesh. Shalom.